I want to play some sound of President Biden after he cast his vote. He said for Kamala Harris today. We assume that is right.
Secret ballot, baby.
Secret ballot, baby. It's a secret. The Democrats, they love secrets. They're not democratic at all, are they? They're not on our side. They're Hitler. Every one of them is Hitler. When did they become Hitler, Michael? Maybe we should just send them to the bunker. They should go to the bunker. Maybe they'll finish themselves off. Send Eber Braun down with some Schnitzengruben. They want some Schnitzengruben. The Democrat Party. Pretty amazing stuff. The news media, the most corrupt institution in America. The next civil war will be driven by the news media. MSNBC, this is your Democrat Party on cable television. Amazing stuff. And the Daily Mail has an amazing story on how Tim Walz had a Chinese girlfriend in China, which is communist, and the Chinese girlfriend, the generosity of women will never cease to amaze me, apparently dated, that's a euphemism, Tim Walz for a long time. Now we know why he went to China 30 times because, he wasn't very popular here in the United States. But it turns out the woman that he was sexually involved with for a long time, can you say long time in this? I think you can in this context. And she says that Tim Walz treated her like she was a prostitute. But never mind that. That's okay with Democrats, too, because who do you think keeps all those prostitutes in business? The child sex traffickers. Who do you think those are? Who do you think they vote for? Come on, are you kidding me? So we've got that going. And she's the daughter of a major Chinese Communist Party leader. Just like Fang Fang. She's like Fang Fang 2. Eric Swalwell was a city councilman in California when he started dating. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. That's a euphemism I'm using. Dating the Chinese spy named Fang Fang. Now, she wasn't the daughter of a spy. She was the spy. She was the honeypot spy sent to the United States to recruit. She recruited, just my hypothesis, Eric Swalwell as a city council member, and then she helped fundraise and helped get him positioned to move to the U.S. Congress, which he did, and then onto the Intelligence Committee as a member of the House of Representatives, while Fang Fang lurked in the wings because the Democrats. And now we learn that Tim Walz was also dating, quotation marks with my fingers again, a Chinese woman who's the daughter of a big-time Chinese intelligence official. And when you're a Democrat, that doesn't even make the papers because the Democrats, they own, the big newspapers are all Democrat organs. Which organ are they, Michael? Well, they're engorged organs. Let's just leave it at that. Amazing stuff. But another one here from the Daily Mail as well. MSNBC, shockingly, nothing can shock me at MSNBC. MSNBC shockingly edits, nothing that they edit can shock me at MSNBC, images from Nazi rally into coverage of Trump Madison Square Garden appearance. MSNBC, they're going to the Trump rally, and then they're editing in pictures of Nazi rallies, and then they're burning and overturning police cars and clubbing babies to death like they're harp seals. Of course, they'd be really upset if they were harp seals, but never mind that. So MSNBC has been slammed for comparing Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden to a 1939 Nazi gathering at the same stage. Host Jonathan Capehart, he's a Washington Post guy, LGBTQ, POC, Democrat. He checks a lot of boxes. And then on the other hand, So he recalled the Nazi rally when speaking about Trump's event on Sunday, saying that in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, meaning Trump is one fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. Now, a lot of Democrats think that Adolf Hitler was there for the rally in New York at Madison Square Garden, the old Madison Square Garden. None of that is true, but, it's Ronald Reagan summed it up beautifully many years ago. It's not that Democrats don't know anything. It's just that so much of what they know is wrong, right? So much of what they know is wrong.
That jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
Yeah, well, they're Nazis. Now you guys are the anti-Semites, and you never fly an American flag, even at your political conventions. But setting that aside, amazing stuff. And that's Jonathan Capehart. That's NBC News and The Washington Post. Isn't he paid by both of them? NBC News and The Washington Post. So there it is. Amazing stuff. MSNBC showed images of the Nazi rally at the Garden, complete with goose-stepping and Hitler statues, as Capehart accused Trump of holding a fascist event at the iconic venue. They really want shooting. What they want is shooting and killing. The left loves killing. That's why they love Planned Parenthood. It's kind of an easy shortcut, not a lot of resistance, and you can rack up millions. Amazing stuff. Man, oh, Manischewitz, I am telling you.
Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Yeah. I live in Washington, D.C., full of left-wing everything and everyone. And the extremists here, and by the way, you guys are the fascist, Nazi, Jew-hating, the D.C. City Council member, Trayon White, famously made a video of himself driving in Washington, D.C., and it started snowing a little. And the Democrat he's an elected official, a city councilman in our nation's capital, and his name is Trayon White, and he thinks that the Jews control the weather.
Man, it just started snowing out of nowhere this morning, man. Y'all better pay attention to this climate control, man. This climate manipulation. And D.C. keep talking about we're a resilient city. And that's a model based off the Rothschilds controlling the climate to create natural disasters they can pay for it and own the cities, man. Be careful.
Be careful, because the Rothschilds, the Jews from Europe, they control the weather, and it's a model based on they control the cities and control you. That's Nazism, but he's too stupid to know what he's talking about, of course. But it makes him a typical elected Democrat in our nation's capital. Isn't that amazing? And if you go to Columbia University, whatever you do, don't wear a yarmulke. In New York City, where Barack Obama went, don't wear a yarmulke, don't wear a Star of David, because you will be in grave danger. You will be in physical danger. Not because there are any Trump supporters there, but because the Democrat Party is a menace to the Jews. That's today's Democrat Party, fascists that they are, chanting from the river to the sea. And honestly, it's true. If you do wear a yarmulke, and by the way, there were big Jewish groups at the Trump rally at Madison Square Garden wearing yarmulkes and Stars of David, because they don't have to be afraid at a Trump rally. Whereas at Columbia University, at Harvard University, at universities all across America, because left-wing Democrats that self-describe as liberals, and some of them self-describe as non-binary and non-gendered, they have made it too dangerous for Jews to be Jewish in the open. Pretty amazing stuff. You bet your bottom dollar. Now, did I mention that the individual, the Jewish man going to synagogue on Saturday in Chicago that was shot repeatedly by a Muslim man, the Muslim man, it turns out, is, on top of everything else, an illegal alien. He's an illegal alien that came in across our southern border about a year and a half ago, and with Democrats, that's okay. That's just fine. I'm telling you, you people. Also, did you see CNN kicked a guest off of the air and off of the set in real time because he made a quip about their radical leftist extremist Mehdi Hassan He said, well, hey, you look out for your pager, your beeper, whatever it was. So they had to drag him off the set in real time. Do you have that one in front of us? 'Cause I know I'm jumping all over here, but there's so much crazy stuff that the Democrats have given us. Mehdi Hassan, who's not on the side of Western civilization, he's an anti-American radical, and he's fine on CNN because he's right at home there. They had a guest, Ryan James Girdusky. He is a panelist during a CNN discussion. The discussion was about anti-Semitism on Monday night. That's last night. And Ryan James Girdusky apparently insulted a fellow panelist, Muslim. It's important that you name him as Muslim. Did they name Ryan James Girdusky as being Christian or Jewish or atheist? And no, they didn't. Why is that? Isn't that interesting? Fellow panelist Muslim Mehdi Hassan by implying he was a terrorist. When they say implying, that means he didn't say it, right? And this is the old, they take what you've said, they change it until it's not what you've said, and then they attack you for what you didn't say. That's one of my old formulas, and it continues to be true. Girdusky, a conservative, but isn't it about religion? Shouldn't we say whether he's Jewish or a Christian? Told the former MSNBC host, now we've got the thing here, and then James Girdusky was chased off the set. You can't say that here. This is CNN.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing it.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
People would sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that...
Did you just say I should die?
You should not...
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope you don't...
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Of Hamas?
Guys.
Now, the hostess is Abby Phillip, and it didn't get any better from there. The backlash... Well, I said, I'm a Muslim. I've got a British accent, and I'm Palestinian, so I'm used to being called a Nazi. Well, that's because you're genocidal Jew haters all over the place, and you actually murder and kidnap and rape people by the thousands because they're Jewish. Those are circumstances under which you might be called a Nazi, you see? And when Democrats are marching on college campuses like Columbia University, chanting from the river to the sea, which is the Hamas chant, which says, let's wipe Israel off the map and smear all the people into the Mediterranean Sea, that's when you might be called a Nazi.
I said Palestinian.
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
Palestinians
I apologize.
Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against me?
Ryan.
That's disgusting.
That is completely...
No, I apologize.
Good job, CNN. Let's have first block say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize.
On TV.
I apologize.
So the Muslim guy should be blown up on TV. Well, stop killing Jews, stop waging war against Israel, release the hostages.
We're back here, and before we get started, I want to just address what happened in the last segment.
Abby
First, I want to apologize to Mehdi Hassan for what was said at this table. It was completely unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
When we get this
completely.
Discussion started, you'll see that Ryan is not at the table.
Just call him
There
Hitler.
is a line that was crossed there, and it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to us at this network.
What network? And so let's line up all the sound bites of people on CNN calling people Hitler. All right, little fascists at CNN. Honestly, how many people are Hitler? They call people Hitler, and then they've got British accent Mehdi Hassan, who's pro-Palestinian, which means you're pro-genocide. Normally, you got to ask the follow-up question. Maybe I'm pro-Palestinian people. Stop electing terrorist organizations that are genocidal Jew haters. That'd be a good start. And also, you heard the civility of the conversation there at the desk at the table. Aren't they amazing? Appalling. Football season is heating up. You may have noticed. There was even a game last night, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action while you're watching football. With more than 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made the daily fantasy sports accessible to all of us, to everyone. The app is incredibly easy to use, simple to use. You pick two or more players across any sport, for that matter. Pick more or less on their projections, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Prize Picks even, listen to this, invented the flex play. So you can still cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PLANTE, P-L-A-N-T-E, to get a $50 credit instantly when you play only $5. That's the code PLANTE on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play only $5. You don't even need to win to receive your $50 bonus. It's guaranteed either way. Prize Picks, run your game. You must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for details and restrictions. Yes, sir. Yeah, CNN, no, we don't allow that. Now, we could run a 20-minute montage of them calling, people that served in our military Hitler. And that's okay. And Donald Trump is Hitler, and they'll defend that to the end. But if you're pro-jihad and genocide of the Jewish people, well, then you can't make a joke about your beeper blowing up. Hey, page me. By the way, the James Gurdusky has been permanently banned from CNN. Now, the radical extremist in the conversation was Mehdi Hasan, who called James Gurdusky, he's essentially called him a Nazi. He said, well, you don't want to be called a Nazi? Stop doing Nazi things. And then Mehdi Hasan got back to chopping the heads off of Jewish babies. But never mind that. Just amazing stuff. He has not been banned, Mehdi Hasan, from CNN, but Ryan Gurdusky has been banned from CNN. Gosh, I'm looking at the clock. I don't have a lot of time to go to people, so I don't want to give you short shrift and less than a minute on the call-in. But we've got a big show, really big show, an hour and a half yet to go. President Trump was in Atlanta, Georgia last night, and the Democrats are very angry about it because, Hitler and all that stuff. Amazing stuff. RFK Jr. was also at the Trump event in New York, and you'll never believe what he said about the Trump event. And a terrible comedian was at the Madison Square Garden event, Tony Hinchcliffe, and he made a joke about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage or words to that effect. I'll play that for you because the left is very, very upset about that. I will explain. I didn't really understand the joke when he told it, but I can explain the joke now. And then the left-wing racists came out to just, hold my beer, one up them. I've got that too. All right, we're going to get to President Trump yesterday, rally in Atlanta, Georgia, and more demented news media. The most corrupt institution in America, the Democrat Party. They're all Hitler. You're just going to have to take my word for this. But first, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to George calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Jorge, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
What's going on, Chris? I just got a question. You always claimed that President Trump had the best economy in the history of historic United States economies. Now, what do you have to back that off? I have two questions. My one question is, which president between Trump and Biden inherited a disaster of an economy, and which one inherited a healthy economy? Simple question, simple answer.
Well, first, I don't believe that I have personally said the words that you quoted me as saying. Secondly, President Trump, of course, was president when the Chinese Communist Wuhan Institute of Virology let loose the Wuhan Red Death on the planet, which allegedly killed 7 million to 8 million people, including allegedly more than 1 million Americans, the pandemic that led to government stomping its iron fist down on all of us and shutting down schools, shutting down businesses, and the economy.
So he was the president. So he was the president when this happened, correct?
Yes, yes.
And why didn't he handle it correctly? Who inherited a disaster of an economy? Biden.
Well, I think
he
that
inherited Trump's disaster.
Well, no, he inherited
Trump
the
inherited
Wuhan Red Death economy, and
there was
what?
one
No,
president.
what you just said. No, when you
Chris.
said no, that's not true, is it?
Yes, he inherited. Who was the president? Who? If he wants to take credit for everything that happened under his rule, why doesn't he take all the bad stuff that happened under his rule?
Well, he was. We just covered this, George. He was president when the Wuhan Red Death was loosed on the planet. Now, you don't think the Wuhan Red Death was Donald Trump's fault or his doing, right?
I did not say that. I
know.
did not.
Well,
say that.
I was asking a question.
He was the president.
Yeah, he was the president when that happened. Now, what's your bigger point here?
My point is, he keeps saying, if our president, when anything international happens.
That's because
But
he's
when
running for
something
president
domestically happened,
Mm-hmm.
but when something domestically happened, he wasn't able to handle it.
Well,
so why should I trust him?
I wouldn't say that he
why
wasn't.
Should I trust him?
I wouldn't say that he
why
wasn't.
should I trust him?
You
I know,
get-
but think about it. I'm a middle of the road kind of voter.
Uh-huh.
Why should I trust him on something? 3 things happened domestically during his term that he froze on. But yet I should trust him
What are
now?
the 3 things that happened during his term domestically?
The riots in Minneapolis.
Well, that's not true. Well, let
attempt.
me pause you there for a second. The riots in Minneapolis because St. George Floyd of fentanyl died of cardiac failure while resisting arrest yet again, and the Democrat Party raised armies of rioters and arsonists and looters, not just in Minneapolis but across the country. From coast to coast, including in my neighborhood, which was looted repeatedly, and the neighborhood of this radio station, which was looted repeatedly. The Democrats made looting normal now. We were looted again, and it was the Democrat Party and the left that was behind every single riot. Am I right about that, George?
Yes, but have you heard of the Insurrection Act of 1807? Have you?
Sure, but that's not relevant to what we're talking about.
Done it. He could have done that. He could have called that out without anybody's approval.
What you mean during? You mean during the George Floyd riots, where the Democrats were burning dozens of cities in America?
Call it what you want.
Well, I want to call it what it is.
Okay, but he could have called the Insurrection Act of 1807.
But you're saying
the National Guard.
That's very funny. Well, I wouldn't say that, but that's. Well, you can keep saying that over and over again. But Senator Tom Cotton wrote a piece that was published in the New York Times and got the head of the editorial board forced out of the newspaper. And Tom Cotton said it's time to call out the Guard to call up troops because the Democrats were burning so many cities, right?
But he didn't do it, did he?
Well, you're saying that he should have called up.
He was the president. He was the president at that moment, was he not?
Yeah, sure, yeah. And you're saying he should have called up the military to put down the
Absolutely.
The Democrat
National
Party.
Guard.
The Democrat
National Guard.
You can keep. You're very repetitive. If he had called up the National Guard in city after city, I mean, again, the New York Times the people of the New York Times were so angry when Senator Tom Cotton, a combat veteran and a Harvard law grad, said it's time to call up the troops. And the left went apoplectic, George. They wanted to stop even discussion of calling up the National Guard and putting down the insurrection. So you're saying that the Democrat Party was staging an insurrection when George Floyd died of heart failure?
No, I'm saying Trump froze and did not walk the walk. He talks the talks, but he doesn't walk the walk.
Now, I'm guessing that you're not voting for President Trump this year and that you didn't vote for him in 2020 and that you didn't vote for him in 2016. Am I right about that?
I voted for him when he went against Hillary. I did. But then he had all these promises that he did not accomplish. He's repeating them now.
Name a promise.
He's repeating them now.
Speaking of repeating, name a promise that he made that he didn't keep.
Repeal and replace Obamacare.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair criticism.
He also said Mexico will pay for the wall.
Well, I got to tell you, on that one,
he said. Can I finish? He also said the economy will. He said the economy will grow 4% each year he is in office. That's 3 fake, false promises.
Well, listen.
So why should I believe him now when he's repeating the same promises?
Well, the economy, let me say that during the Trump presidency, we had many, many great things. Now, as for Mexico paying for the wall, the reality is President Trump was getting to work on that, being obstructed by the Democrats at every turn on Capitol Hill and beyond and in the states that are affected and so on. But President Trump getting Mexico to pay for the wall. How they do that? Well, let me see. There are a number of different ways to extract the equal amount of money for the wall. If Mexico's not helping us, if they're not assisting us, then you pressure them with economic strength, economic power. And President Trump
did not do that.
Well, he did not do that. He didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance to play out. You're very, very interrupty, but he didn't have a chance to play out that ball of string. And given an opportunity, which he may get again very soon, but then he may find a way for Mexico to offset the amount of money that we pay to construct a border wall, which again the Democrats will oppose hammer and sickle all the way. Now, hang on, because I would say that during the Trump years, what we had was a period of peace and prosperity, and until the Wuhan Red Death came along out of communist China. We had peace and prosperity, and we did have national sovereignty to the extent that that's possible with a giant country and giant long borders, thousands of miles of borders, and so on. But we had peace and prosperity, and we had national sovereignty. Would you say that that's true?
You're changing the subject, Chris. I'm speaking of the economy.
Well, on the economy, hang on. Well, then let me respond. Because I recall that the grocery store shelves were bountiful and overflowing with everything that anyone wanted in the United States of America until the Wuhan Red Death out of communist China, which, again, we had Anthony Fauci lying to us about funding the Wuhan Institute of Virology and their gain-of-function research at the time. And we were lied to, and Fauci lied to us. And we were sending tax dollars over there to help China. Wait, hang on.
You do agree COVID. You do agree on COVID affected our economy. You do agree.
Well, obviously, it had an enormous effect.
So then why do you expect Biden to fix it within months? How do you expect that?
Well, he became the president. Well, first of all, I hadn't finished my thought. We had gasoline at about $2.11 a gallon, which means less expensive. Less expensive food prices because the grocery store is bountiful and it costs less for the people that provide the food and the groceries and so on. So gasoline was very inexpensive. Now, Barack Obama and heating oil was less expensive. And Barack Obama promised that under his plan of cap and trade, that heating your home would become it would increase exponentially.
Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
Which is the Democrats' plan. And they say it out loud, and they say, oh, yeah, vote for me because I'll make electricity costs skyrocket. I'll make gasoline costs skyrocket. I'll make natural gas costs skyrocket. I'll make it will help Russia economically. We'll help Russia militarily. We'll help Iran economically. We'll help Iran militarily. We'll help Iran wage war against Israel. Donald Trump got
He never said that.
Well, he didn't say it out. No, it was the effect of what he did. Policy his policies have had consequences, and the consequences are myriad, they're legion, and they have to do with war in the Middle East. President Trump got 3 peace deals between Arab countries and Israel. He moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
We're speaking the economy, Chris. Can I make one last point, and I'll let you speak?
You're actually kind of fun.
I'll make it quick.
You're actually kind of fun. But peace, prosperity, and national sovereignty, low inflation, low gas prices, easy for young people to buy homes because of low interest rates. These were all positive things under the Trump era.
From Obama's economy.
Well, you want to give Obama credit. You want to give Obama
a healthy economy.
Well, look, he's Barack Obama, anti-energy, anti-low prices for everything, anti-Israel. And by the way, Russia invaded the Crimea under Barack Obama. Barack Obama bombed more countries than any president since World War II.
Economy.
And Putin sees an open door for him when Barack Obama is in charge. Iran sees an open door when Barack Obama is in charge. Russia then invaded the rest of Ukraine when Joe Biden became president, not while Donald Trump was president. Iran really unleashed the wrath of Allah on Israel when Joe Biden got in, using the money that Barack Obama made available to them.
Chris,
George, you know that everything that I've said is true, don't you?
Yeah, but the last thing you don't allow me to say is one thing. When Trump was inaugurated, was he or was he not inaugurated into a government trifecta? Yes or no?
Yeah, well, government trifecta is a vague term.
No, a government trifecta means the House, the Senate, and the presidency were all under one party rule, Republicans. So he had no excuse to not be able to fulfill all his promises and his policies. He had no one to stop him.
Well, that might make sense, except that the Republican Party is the party that actually has disagreements in their party, and they have people that don't vote for everything that comes before them, unlike the Democrats, who goose-step in lockstep on every single issue with the party masters.
You're dancing around.
Not at all. No, I'm laying out facts which are clear for everyone to see, and. Honestly, he was having a roaring time economically and in every other as peace, prosperity, and national sovereignty, all good things.
Because he inherited a healthy economy from Obama.
You want to give look. It's fine. You're supposed to inherit a healthy economy from your predecessor, and that's fine. But he drove down gas prices. He drove down inflation rates. He drove down interest rates. People in their 20s were buying houses all over the place because they could afford to buy houses. That's the American dream, building your family's capital for generations. That's where generational wealth comes from. And President Trump...
Didn't Harris want to offer a $25,000 credit for first-time home buyers? Isn't that what you just described?
That's a socialist handout. That's not economic prosperity.
People want to buy 20 people.
Yeah, but not with government money, with their own money, not with government handouts. Where do you think that $25,000 comes from, George? It comes from you.
It's called a credit.
It's called a socialist subsidy. And it just adds more and more to the already $35 trillion national debt that we have.
2017 tax cuts. We're still paying for it.
Well, listen, George, you're a lot of fun, and I'm glad you're thinking about these things. Trust me, I'm glad you're thinking about these things. But really, since you think about these things and you try to stay as well informed as you obviously do, you try to stay well informed. But you should be voting for Trump because Kamala is making a bunch of promises that will make everything worse in myriad ways. And I think even you know that, George. I think even you know that. Listen, I'm glad you got through today. You should vote for Trump. When you vote for Trump, you can call me back next week and say, well, listen, Chris, I realized everything you said was right and true and that you're just parroting party talking points. So you voted for Trump and you can call me back then. But thanks for checking in, George. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of viruses, odors, mold, spores, and more floating in the air. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. You know it works like a champ. We've got 2 of them at home ourselves. Any stinky smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from litter boxes and trash can cigarette smoke, even dirty diapers, even left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy odors anywhere. The molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm, and you don't have to buy filters over and over again and replace them on a schedule. How annoying is that? So start enjoying clean, fresh air in your home and get several thunderstorms because right now you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units for under $200, so you can put one in your basement, in your teenager's room. Bring one to your office, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. That's right. That's right. We do free speech here. This is a marketplace of ideas. And George, you keep on thinking and keep on learning, because I think eventually you'll join Team America. Team America, buddy.
I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
All right, so much to talk about. You know, President Trump was threatening to send in the National Guard during the Democrat riots and murders, the violent mobs they put out on the street. And Tim Walz eventually, he was the governor then of Minnesota, and he did eventually send in the National Guard, but President Trump was threatening to just send in troops over Walz's objections. And then Walz eventually relented and sent in the National Guard. But President Trump was muscling him to do so while the Democrats were burning and looting and killing because they're a violent criminal party. Let's go to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Don calling from the great state of Nebraska. Donald, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris. This last caller just was driving me crazy because right along with what you said about when Obama said the gas prices would exponentially rise, he also said, what am I supposed to do, wave a magic wand and make the economy better? And it drives me crazy because every time I listen to a national voice like you or Clay and Buck or Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk, every time a Democrat says, well, Trump inherited Obama's economy. But he didn't, because if Hillary would have won, it would have still been in the toilet. I mean, he said, what do you want me to do? Wave a magic wand? So it was Trump's economy, not Obama's, holdover.
Well, in the Democrat rule book, you're correct about everything you say, Don. And, the Democrat rule book, Democrats are responsible for everything good that happens on their watch and nothing bad. And the opposite of true of Republicans. Republicans are responsible for everything bad that happens and nothing good because the Democrats are corrupt.